I spent the first 33 years of my life with either no garden, concrete gardens, or artificial turf. Until last week, at the age of 34, I had never mowed the lawn. It got me thinking about how there are many small things I have never done that others have grown up doing regularly. Story 1. I'm a mechanic who enjoys smoking meat, and I've changed plenty of tires. Despite my masculine interests, I have never been in a fistfight. I have never thrown a punch or been punched in the face. While it may seem normal to some, I have no desire to engage in a fight with anyone. Story 2. I have never smoked meat on a smoker. I have plenty of experience with a grill, both charcoal and propane, but I have just never had the opportunity to smoke anything. Story 3. I have never changed a tire before. I am pretty sure I know how to do it. It's not that hard. However, every time the issue has come up, someone else has always volunteered to do it for me for one reason or another. I think I make up for that by the number of times I have mowed the lawn. I have done that so many times now. Story 4. I am honestly not sure of many handyman tasks that I can think of that I haven't done. At least those that don't require specialty tools. Having grown up on a farm, we handled our own electrical work, plumbing, woodworking, car maintenance, yard work, and so on. My dad is very skilled with many of these tasks, so I have learned a lot from him, and he turns to me for what he doesn't know about firearms and computers. I always love to learn new things. Story 5. My father recently passed away, and the idea of maintaining a house and all that it entails was daunting for my wife and me. However, now that I'm handling weekly tasks for my mother and their home, I find them quite rewarding, beneficial, and a good use of my time. Mowing the lawn, being outside, and maintaining the property has taught me a lot about managing time and resources. I have learned how to care for many aspects of the house. My dad was a mechanic, and even though I never participated in all the difficult tasks alongside him, you'd be surprised at how much knowledge I gained and how much I'm able to handle myself. This experience has helped me cope with his death and has been tremendously beneficial for my mother until we can find a better living situation for her. Story 6. I think the only thing I haven't done is operate a large crane or serve in the military. With over 30 years in construction and growing up on a farm, I have experienced just about all the traditional activities. However, my back is hurting, my hands are rough like leather, and I have several scars from close calls with equipment or livestock. I take that back. I have never played on a sports team. I played with friends, but I had to work on our property in the morning and evening every day, so I couldn't participate in organized sports. You would be surprised at how much there is to do on a small family farm. Story 7. I grew up mowing lawns. I disliked it as a boy, but now as an adult, I find it oddly comforting. I never considered it a task exclusive to men, but I can understand how a son might be expected to do it. That said, many women and girls also mow lawns. I have changed a tire once, and it was not difficult. I am not sure what a traditional male task is, though. I would like to have a garden. Growing my own vegetables and fruits would be great. Story 8. I have never helped a friend with a hand job. I didn't learn how to drive until I was 24. I didn't change a tire until I was 25. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 23. The transition from boyhood to manhood is one of acceptance. You accept your experiences and recognize that they may differ from others. Those who judge or have a checklist mentality often display insecurity and anxiety. Story 9. Sports have never really been a significant part of my life, as I've only played them a few times growing up. I understand the basics of each game from playing video games with my brothers. I am a tech-savvy individual working in information technology. I can fix things around the house and work on cars. However, I have no interest in sports. I do not understand the fascination that other men have with them. It makes me uncomfortable to be in situations where I am expected to care simply because I am a man. Story 10. Not really a job, but I know nothing about American football. I can fix my own cars, do landscaping, perform basic handyman home repairs, carpentry, plumbing, painting, concrete work, pool maintenance, and minor electrical tasks. However, I can't for the life of me tell you the difference between a linebacker and a safety. Last Super Bowl, I spent the entire time pouring a slab of concrete in my crawl space under the house. Story 11. I can change my own oil, but I never do. It's not enjoyable or worth the time, so I just pay someone to do it. Story 12. I have never been in a fist fight. I have been knocked out while doing combatives in the army and have boxed, but I have never thrown a punch in anger. I have no idea how to work on small block engines, such as lawnmowers. I am a helicopter mechanic and can tell you almost anything about a turbine engine, but I have never cared to learn how to fix the engine on my mower and would have to look for guidance online if something went wrong. Story 13. I would like to say that the only thing I know about cars is their color. However, when I visit family and they pick me up at the station, I can never remember what color their cars are, so I can't even confidently say that. Story 14. What is a man's job? I have been scrolling through the comments section, and I have done all of these things, and so has my sister. It was more about being too poor to pay someone else to do these jobs. Story 15. I thought I hadn't really done much since I have always felt less traditionally masculine than most people around me. I have always been disinterested in or actively disliked many hobbies and responsibilities considered traditionally masculine. After looking through everyone's replies, I realized I have done almost all of these things at least once, primarily due to my upbringing and early friend groups. I guess I have never gotten someone pregnant or had a pregnancy scare. Story 16. Never put a single hand on a car. In fact, apart from changing a tire, checking fluids, and pumping gas, I have no idea what is inside of them or how to do anything. I don't even know anything about them. When people talk to me about multi-jet engines or 1200/1500 cc, I just have a blank stare on my face. The funny thing is that I'm a field technician for industrial machinery, so I know everything about infinitely more complex machines, but cars are a mystery to me. Story 17. I have never had a favorite sports team. At 21 years old, I still receive odd looks when I say I don't like football, basketball, or tennis. Story 18. I have thousands of responses for this, but when I mention that it is because of my disability, people act as if it is not relevant. I find it frustrating because I answered the question based on people's perceived definition of what a man's job is, and then I feel disqualified. Why should I not feel less of a man because of that? Story 19. I'm not a mechanic in any sense of the word. Most people can handle many smaller repairs on their vehicles themselves. Not me. I can add washer fluid and maybe even remove an oil pan plug if necessary, but in the few times I've attempted to repair a vehicle of mine, I only made things worse. This applies to any kind of home repair as well. Story 20. The extent of my knowledge about fixing cars is paying attention to warning indicators, taking it in for maintenance when I reach the recommended mileage, and having a roadside assistance service saved on my phone. This approach has allowed me to drive 200,000 miles in my current car, and I will likely continue to purchase Japanese cars for their ease of repair and reliability. Story 21. I don't know anything about smoking meats. All the guys I work with are into it, and my wife often asks if I want to grill for my birthday or Father's Day. But I just don't find anything appealing about spending 6 hours by the grill. Also, I have no idea about fishing. I work on cars, do yard work, handle DIY projects around my house, play sports, and build PCs, but those two topics are ones I usually avoid. Story 22. I have never welded, pulled, or installed an engine, nor have I served in the military, despite a long family history of military service, and my experience in the Civil Air Patrol ended when I left before a parade. I have never hunted, driven any appropriate commercial driver's license vehicles, or used explosives in a controlled environment. I have not participated in firefighting, plumbing, or electrical work in any significant way. I believe I have done nearly everything else except rodeo. I am not very fond of horses or attempting to ride a bull. For the record, I have seen women participate in all the activities mentioned, except for using explosives and rodeo. Story 23. Other than a tow truck in about 2004, I don't think I've ridden in a manual transmission vehicle since about 1985. My parents had automatic vehicles. My friends growing up had automatic vehicles as well. I prefer my hands to be free, so I never had any interest in finding a manual transmission vehicle and learning to operate it. I also hire a lawn crew because I can afford to pay them more easily than sacrificing my free time. I've never changed my oil. I've looked into how to do it with every vehicle I've owned, but I would rather pay someone else and not spend my free time on it. I like to hire a handyman to handle tasks around the house because, again, I value my free time and those projects stress me out. YouTube suggests it will take about 12 minutes, but 7 hours later, I'm still struggling to get it done. I recently bought a corner desk, had it delivered, and paid to have it put together. I figured it would take about 90 minutes since he mentioned he had just assembled 3 at an office across town. 5 hours of continuous work later, he finally finished. I thought, are you staying for dinner? If I had to do it myself and knew it would take 5 hours, it would still be in the box on the pallet it came on. I don't watch sports and have never seen the Olympics. Story 24. I have never been to a party or a strip club. I have never had to balance a checkbook in real life or do much handyman work, except for cleaning the shower drains and occasionally fixing a small dent or something similar. Story 25. I know how to change a spare tire and check oil pressure and vehicle fluids. Aside from that, I am clueless when it comes to fixing a vehicle. I always end up deferring to a cousin who is a mechanic. Story 26. There are many things I have never done, but if I am pressed, I can probably manage. Yesterday was a good example. I had never experienced a sump pump failure before, but after a quick trip to the hardware store and watching a couple of videos, I installed it. My wife looked at me and said, "That wasn't so hard." I replied that it only seemed easy because I bought all the tools the last time I faced a task I had never attempted. Story 27. Care about organized sports, not quite a job, but yes. During the last Super Bowl, I had my gamer friends over for board games and barbecue. I will go with friends to some sporting events, rarely, but that is more about hanging out socially with them for an event than caring about the sport. I have done most of the other tasks typically associated with men, such as changing tires, mowing the lawn, doing drywall, changing oil, hunting, and fishing. Story 28. I have never enjoyed watching sports. I would much rather play a sport than watch them. I have never gone on a multi-day hunting trip. My former coworkers swear by it, but the thought of spending time with people I work with and then dragging an elk or a deer multiple miles through the woods has never appealed to me. If I am going to harvest an animal, I want it close enough to my truck that I can gut it, drag it, and have it loaded in the bed of my truck within an hour. I do drink and occasionally drink to excess, but I have never been so drunk that I blacked out or vomited. Story 29. I have done all the typical activities associated with being a guy. I even took a year to build my own motorcycle. I also sew, bake, and learned to decorate cakes for my ex after she started a side business. Hobbies are enjoyable. Story 30. I am a light vehicle mechanic by trade and currently work in construction. I have completed many tasks throughout the years. I have never ridden a motorbike. Story 31. I have never grilled. I grew up in the city without a father and spent my 20s living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know what opportunity people think I have had to learn how to grill. Last summer, I was at a party where someone told me to fire up the grill, and I had to admit that I didn't know how. Everyone gave me a hard time about it. Story 32. I have never once inspected the engine of my own vehicle. To this day, I still have not had a need to. I simply take it in for routine maintenance. Sure, it may be costing me money, but I don't know what I am doing. I was never taught, and any damage I risk causing would cost even more to repair. Story 33. Many people who live in apartments never perform the household chores that those who live in houses do. Why is that unusual? Story 34. Used to set up temporary power for outdoor events. We need to set up generators of various sizes and run power to a transformer. The cables used can vary from 1/2 inch to 2 inches in diameter, made of solid copper. We connect these cables all the way down to a house outlet across hundreds of yards, and sometimes a few acres. Running those cables over long distances is challenging and physically demanding. Story 35. Many things have shaped my life. My dad passed away when I was 2, and as an only son, I didn't engage in many traditional activities typically associated with masculinity. The one exception was playing football. Story 36. I have never drank a beer, used an outdoor grill, or performed a squat with weights. As a child and young adult, I mowed the yard once or twice a month, changed tires, jumped cars, changed oil, and eliminated large bugs. I am not really a handyman, but I am definitely resourceful in finding random objects to fix things without using tools. Story 37. I don't think there are any activities I haven't done, but there are plenty I would prefer never to do again. Story 38. I am working on my car. I don't have a house yet, just an apartment with a patio, so I guess I will do some lightweight yard work. I am trying to learn more skills. Story 39. I cannot talk to girls. I can rebuild a house from electricity to water pipes, repair a car, or cut down a whole forest and operate heavy equipment after just 3 minutes. But when my friends tell me to go and talk to a girl, I freeze like the character from a TV show. I cannot flirt. I know this is shameful. Most guys think it's easy just talking, but for me, it's the worst torture. After we slowly got to know each other in a friend group, I do well, but the best I can get is the friend zone from that point on. She likes me and doesn't want to lose me after a breakup. Most of my friends think this is strange at age 33. Story 40. I cannot talk to girls. I can rebuild a house from electricity to water pipes, rebuild a car, or cut down an entire forest and even use heavy equipment after just 3 minutes. However, when my friends tell me to go talk to a girl, I freeze like the character from The Big Bang Theory. I struggle with flirting, and I know this is shameful. Most guys think it is easy just talking, but for me, it is the worst torture. Once we slowly get to know each other through a friend group, I feel comfortable, but the best I can achieve is being placed in the friend zone. She likes me and does not want to lose me after a breakup. Most of my friends think this is weird at age 33. Story 41. I understand how you feel. I did not change a tire until I was in my late 20s. Sometimes life presents challenges, but we learn as we navigate through it. Story 42. I've never shot a gun, if that counts, and would probably avoid doing it because I'm just not comfortable around fast-moving objects. Story 43. Not sure if this is really a man thing, but it certainly feels un-American to admit. I've never held a real gun or firearm. I've never even touched one. By extension, I've never fired one, gone hunting, or visited a shooting range. Growing up, my mother wouldn't even allow us kids to have water pistols or foam dart guns because she thought we might grow up to be criminals. I was a grown man out of college with my own car and apartment before I bought my very own foam dart gun, and even then I felt guilty. Story 44. I'm pretty sure you could name any stereotypical manly job, and I probably haven't done it. All my jobs have involved a mix of men and women. Story 45. I have never mowed a lawn, used a barbecue, or hung anything on a wall. I usually don't open most jars myself. I just hand them to my husband if he is home. I am 30 years old and female. Story 46. I tried to think of one and really can't. Thankfully, my dad taught me to do a lot of cool skills in a really positive way. He's a true masculine role model, but never made me feel like I wouldn't be a real man or wasn't worthy of his love if I couldn't work or live like he did. Great dad. That being said, here are some skills I really wish I had and would love to learn. Drive a manual transmission vehicle. I feel like I could and understand the concept, but never have the opportunity to try. Ride and care for horses. Well, confidently ask women out on dates. I always have to get to know someone for a long time and build up a lot of courage before going for it, and it always feels like a huge risk. I envy the people who just go for it, and I think they learn some skills and mentality that I never acquired. Story 47. I am a Michigander displaced to the Gulf South. I do not have an interest in hunting deer, nor do I fish. However, I can diagnose and fix your car, as well as create an Excel sheet to track your summer and winter mileage before and after new eco tires. Additionally, I do not drive a pickup truck, as I am neither a farmer nor a contractor. Story 48. I have never fathered a child, and that is my biggest regret. As a 56-year-old gay man, I don't see it happening. I have been a father figure, but I really wanted a child of my own to protect, teach, and play baseball or with dolls. Story 49. Not a man, not answering the question, but I came here to say that you kept saying garden. I thought you were classifying gardening as a more masculine hobby. Story 50. I lived in Pakistan in an upper-class family with maids and servants, and I never washed dishes or did any housework until I moved to the USA to live with my uncle. I had to learn the hard way. My first job as a teenager was working in a gas station, which was 30 years ago. When I tell people back home, they think it's weird that I live in America, where this is considered normal. Story 51. Home maintenance tasks like faucet replacement and socket installation are challenging for me since I am a beginner. However, my father is skilled at these tasks. Story 52. I mowed the lawn for the first time at 44. In fact, when I reflect on it, I did a lot of things at that age that I thought I would never do, and I enjoyed them. I mowed the lawn for the first time at 44, doing it every 2 to 3 weeks during summer. I started gardening. While I am not yet at the vegetable level, I am planting and maintaining my first green wall, grass, and trees. I have a greenhouse on my roadmap for maybe next year. I built my irrigation system from scratch, collecting rainwater using a remotely programmable controller, and laying down 400 meters of pipes in the ground with sprinklers. I began woodworking, building a barbecue deck and some small furniture around the house. I started to repair things. I reconditioned a trailer from junk level to almost new to use in my garden. I also fixed the lawnmower I inherited from the previous owner. This is actually how I got started. I learned how to weld using rods and flux, and I am quite skilled. I am 47 now. I have been in the software industry since I was 10, your regular geek without the black glasses, and my hands were only dirty from cleaning my PC. I lived almost my entire life in apartments in the city. We bought an old house in the suburbs, refurbished it with the help of some contractors, and then I had to take care of the garden. I had to read a lot and consume many tutorials from online resources. My wife is literally shocked. She said she never thought I was capable or willing to do all that. This is what helped me overcome burnout. Story 53. I don't know if there's much I haven't done because I have worked many blue-collar jobs and have always been the person people call to fix or help with things. However, I was a flower delivery driver for almost 2 years. I received a lot of criticism from men, a few phone numbers, and many smiles from women. Story 54. I've never asked to hold a baby. I have held them, but I've never felt the urge to take one from someone else. I have also refused offers, and I don't even know why. Perhaps it's the thought of dropping them or the strong baby smell that makes me feel uneasy. Story 55. I've never grilled, mostly because I've always rented apartments where there isn't really space for a personal grill, but also because I'd be afraid to ruin the expensive meats. Story 56. I have tried most things at least once or gotten through challenges with YouTube and the internet when necessary. I wouldn't willingly roof a house again, but I did it for good pay when I was around 14 years old. Story 57. I am 33 years old and have many jobs that I have never done in my life. I am not sure if anything will make most people think it is weird, as we have professionals to take care of these tasks for us these days. I have never mowed a lawn, fixed a car, changed a tire, repaired something in my apartment, or saved a princess from a dragon's dungeon. Story 58. Anything regarding manual labor is considered a man job. I work in an office as an engineer, so although I am a man, I do not have a traditional manly job in the way that some might define it. Here are some examples of traditionally masculine jobs: police officer, firefighter, mechanic, plumber, electrician, lumberjack, fisherman, military personnel, construction worker, carpenter, coal miner, welder. These jobs are often viewed as physically demanding and are typically associated with masculinity. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.